That's what I want to do. And good Tuesday morning, April Fool's Day, as you all know by now.
Hello, everyone. It appears I can't leave Chip alone unattended.
Oh, this was great. This morning, 6 a.m., I got in here, and to all y'all that know, it was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm just finding out coming into the building that it is an April Fool's joke.
And I'm still getting texts from the show this morning. But what I did at 6 a.m., was I created a story, and people were calling me on the phone and asking me, is everybody okay? Do I need to come over with a gun?
I had a friend text me, ask if I was in hiding.
But what I told everybody at 6 a.m. was that at 5 a.m., I told them we all met at Highway 51 at Mart 51 Shopping Center.
Okay.
On Terry Road at Highway 80. It was
that's actually my ward.
That was an old place, and we all met there. And it was Kim Wade, Clay, Jameson Haygood, you, Andrew Gasser, and we were all meeting there and dividing up to go out to make sure that all the polling precincts were going to open on time and that they had ballots.
Right.
That was what our goal was.
Okay.
And then I said, all of a sudden, people wanted to break us up, and they were jumping off of the Wig World into back of Clay's truck, and Clay took off in one direction down Highway 80 toward where the bridge was out. I don't know where he went. Jameson Haygood was going into the woods with a Bible and a shotgun. And y'all all scattered in the cars. Kim Wade was driving his Tesla. With a full-size wrap of him on the side because he's short and he would make it on the side of a Tesla. And then, of course, I said my security team put me into my limo and whisked me away and brought me to the underground studio here at WYAB on the underground in the metal room.
And I was left in the woods somewhere to fend for myself.
And they just took us all in different directions. Yeah. And then in the bunker here at WYAB, you know, it has all the survival gear where Clay and them had stocked it. We had guns. We had all these water. But they didn't bring regular Coke. They brought Coke Zero.
Oh no! Well, that's better for you, Chip. See, I can see from here 0 calories, and it's just Coke Zero is good.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
It's not. Okay. It's not the same. But
anyway, some people will argue that it hadn't been the same since 80.
Right, but
3.
Yeah, but the storyline, I sold it. I sold the story.
I believe it.
People really believed it. Clay walks in and he had
War of the Worlds.
He wasn't listening on the radio, and he says, "I've been getting texts and blah blah blah." And he saw the lights were on. And he saw Matt was already here, and he goes, "Something must be up," you know.
Oh gosh. Well, thank goodness somebody has my contact info. I didn't get any. I only got one.
So that's it.
Call this morning.
Our text line feed on the thing was loaded. Was going wild. The phones were ringing off the hook. I was like, okay. And then in between shows, I'd have my mic muted, and I was in front of the camera, just jumping up and down like there's all hell was breaking loose.
April Fools.
April Fools.
Why do we have April Fools? What's the meaning? Why did we start doing an April Fools? Does anybody know? I don't know.
Because it's election day, and we're election Democrats.
Day's not always on.
Okay.
But
it should be.
It should be, but it's not. April Fools.
But that was
Here's who you chose. April Fools.
So,
Huh? Nothing.
I've always done April Fool's jokes. The best one I ever did was at the casino when I worked at the casino. I filled up a thing with apple juice, a glass, with a test cup with apple juice.
Yeah.
And I warmed it in the microwave.
Okay.
And we went to the boss, and I was working at the Choctaw Casino, and so a buddy of mine who is Choctaw went into the office, and he was always getting tested.
Right.
And he took the warm glass, and I said, hold it here to where when she grabs it on the bottom, the warm will be on there. And she goes, they just gave me this, and I just came out of the bathroom. I don't know what to do with it. Then, so my boss was holding what she thought was pee. And it was apple juice that had been warmed. And then I reached over and acted like I was choking, and I grabbed it and drank it.
Gosh.
And she fell out. But I'm good for I'm good for a
I
classic.
was wondering where you're going with a drug test of a boss at a casino and apple juice. I was thinking, why would a boss be trying to get away with? And then it becomes apparent
because we were
because
always
you were going to drink it and not get it tested.
Yes.
That's good.
That was good. I have a joke or two up my sleeve.
I bet some of the best ones will come to you over the next couple of days or the rest of the day.
That was classic. That was classic.
That is. I don't know that I've ever pulled off a really good.
And I can't wait to go back and listen to see if I was convincing.
I'm sure you were convincing, Chip. Obviously, you were. If my friends were calling me and saying, "Are you in hiding? Where are you? Are you in hiding?" Then undoubtedly you did a very good job.
Well, I'm glad to know they listen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have a girlfriend that's on her way to work in the morning.
But I mean, my phone. I mean, it was a ride. I enjoyed it, and Clay played along in the first set. And then we came clean.
Y'all came clean.
But anyway.
Yeah.
But that's that. But today is election day.
Today is election day.
Everybody needs to go out and vote.
Everybody does.
Now, we did a
landslide.
We did a sampling just a moment ago.
Did you? Okay.
Between what's his name?
Oh gosh, which one? And start describing and I'll tell you.
He was just on the show with us. Jackson Jambalaya.
Oh.
He was on the show, Clay was on the show, and I was on the show, and we were determining who was going to win in Jackson or be in the runoff. And we honestly believe that it will be, we all agreed with Chokeway and Horn.
Yep. I thought that as well and got really down in the dumps about it. And I'm hearing that.
But the truth of the matter is, if you could get people out to vote.
Yep. Anybody but Chokeway.
David Archie has a chance.
I thought,
but if it's only 13,000 people vote,
I think people misunderstand how much can be done just by eyeball to eyeball meeting people where you are and shaking their hands and saying I'm running for mayor
and saying
not putting up signs and not running commercials
and saying that was me this morning on the show. This morning on the fake show that I was doing at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
I was reminding everybody the only true justice in the world is to get off your butt and go vote today.
Yep.
And I was asking everybody to go at 7 o'clock and check and make sure that the polls were open, since that was what our goal was to make sure they were open and the ballots were there.
Yep.
And this is what all of you should be doing.
2 tables there, which should be a new experience in Jackson.
Everybody should be there. And then somebody called and said, when I walked in, they asked me if I was a Republican or Democrat, and they thought that was wrong. But no, that's not wrong.
Not for
because
primary.
There's two different. You have Republican primary and you have a Democratic primary, so that's normal.
Yep. I saw something from Kenny G, so undoubtedly he's.
But then after marking his ballot, they didn't want him to put it through the machine.
It has to go through the machine.
And if it doesn't go in through the top of the machine, you put it in the slot in the bottom. Okay, there's a slot right there on the bottom of the machine that you put them in, and it's locked. But they were saying, no, give them to us, and we're going to run them back through later.
No, you've got to put it over the scanner. That's the whole thing. You've got to take the ballot, put it into the ballot box. And what happens is they take a ballot image. So they take a picture of the front and the back of your ballot, and they timestamp it. So therefore, literally, you could open up the thumb drive and pull up all of the ballot images and see every ballot that's been run through there. So do not put it in through the scanner. Otherwise, you have no idea if that ballot's been counted or not.
And if you're in a hurry, on the machine underneath the scanner, there is a slot that is just for the purpose, and they will be rescanned. They always are rescanned. Those are, I promise you. If the box is locked. If you go up there and the box isn't locked, like in Madison County, they'll be gone.
It means they won't count.
But when the person is asking you to leave the ballot with them, you're getting screwed. You're already getting screwed.
Take your ballot, be sure it goes, because like I said, that will be literally, you could go to the clerk's office and say that I voted at 9 a.m. at so-and-so precinct. They should be able to pick up a ballot, and you could, you can tell what little circle, everybody fills in that little circle differently. So you'll be able to identify your ballot.
And when you look at the machine,
be sure it's locked.
If you don't see seals on the machine and locks on the machine,
because if you don't put it through the scanner, it's not being counted.
If you vote affidavit, you make sure you put it yourself in the bag yourself. Nobody cast your vote for you. If you see people out there doing roadside ballots, walk up. What is it called? It's called curbside.
Yep.
They call it curbside voting. If there are people in the car, if there's more than one person in the car, they all have to get out of the car to vote.
Yep.
Only one person can be in the car, and the number two, 1, 2 for you that can't count. 2 people from inside the precinct have to be at the car watching that person vote. But it doesn't work that everybody's in wheelchairs in the car. You got to pull them all out. Only one person in the car voting inside the car. But once your wheelchair's out, why don't you just roll on inside?
Well, I mean, exactly. This is an opportunity for you to get out and see people. Get out of the. If you're out, get in your wheelchair, get out, come in, visit the polls.
Voting is so important.
Breathe some fresh air.
Voting is so important, and today is your day.
Yep.
Now,
I put up ESNS's website on my Facebook page, Taylor Turcotte, 2 T's and then 1 E, and it literally it takes you through all the ways that the ballot box should be secured. ESNS explains very well how they secure the elections on that website. So
okay, and y'all, and think about, and I was just we were on the show with Clay. We were talking about in Brandon, you voted City Hall.
Okay.
You voted Clyde Muse, and that's the only place you vote.
Right.
Okay. At Pearl, you vote Clyde Muse Center, and only there.
Right.
In Flowood, you vote at Flowood City Hall.
Right.
There's a pattern going here. These are Republican towns where they're making sure there's only one place,
one ballot box,
which helps you keep the vote simple,
secure. Yep.
And that's kind of. I know Jackson's a big we're
city. Yeah, but rarely are there waiting lines. I've run the polls for almost every election that we've had so far, and I've never seen a line coming out the door of a poll in Jackson.
That's right.
So obviously we don't have a problem with waiting in line. There's really no excuse. But
and in Gluckstadt, I'm sure they're voting in one place. They're probably City Hall, and they're doing everybody's on one ballot,
right?
And the top 5 win.
Right.
Okay. Become the alderman. And of course, in the mayor's race, I believe he is unchallenged. And then in Ridgeland, you have a challenged alderman.
Right.
By a former election commissioner.
Okay.
Pat Truesdale, which I hope she's successful. That's who I'm endorsing. But,
right.
And who are you endorsing anybody in the city election in Jackson?
Well, mayor would be David Archie.
That's a good guy.
But then as far as the other councilmen that I'd like Ashby Foote.
But
there's also a lady that is running against Ashby. She was one of the first speakers at the city council forum. She's an accountant. I'd like to, have her help if I get elected. In Ward 2, I'm going to have to go against the Republican who's running, and Cheatham is who I like. He is the man in the Ward 2 race. My gut tells me that he is the best of the 3. And then of course, Kenny Stokes and I don't really know how to go with the 6. Vernon Hartley, of course, and the other one, and then Ward 6. I'm going to leave that to the people.
You're from Jackson. I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah. Well, and like with Ward 6, I'm going to leave that to the people. It's an open.
I will get involved when Kim Wade is on the ballot.
Well.
And he won't be on the ballot till June.
Well, picking a mayor is a lot about character, and you can testify a lot to Kim Wade.
Yes, I can.
Character. So get on it.
And Kim and David are friends.
Well, yeah. And
it will be a great race.
I told y'all, if that happens, that is going to basically tear me in half, because both of them, and I mean, I'll look at both of them and say, look, you might we're going to have to start with a skeleton crew. As far as I'm concerned, everybody who is running on the Jackson ballot at this point, be ready to jump in and take a position.
Well, it's already good. It's always good when you have 2 good candidates.
Exactly.
Because, sitting there in Brandon, they got 2 good candidates.
Exactly.
I'm for Fred Shanks, of course. But
right.
2 good candidates.
Right.
And then, of course, in Canton today, it's just a Democratic primary. I'm the Republican running.
Yep.
And there is an independent. Neither one of us will be on the ballot till June.
Right. June
and
3rd.
There's Tim Taylor, who is a current alderman.
Okay.
You have Daphne Sims, who is a former alderman.
Okay.
Who was also a school teacher that got fired at the school. Then you have another person, Camelia Walker.
I remember seeing her
also fired from the school, but she got fired and lost her teacher's license for changing test
Isn't it
scores.
funny how corruption sits in all the same little areas around government?
Test scores.
Government employees.
Suspended for 10 years. And what she's going to do, run for office. And of course, she's backed by the
The
Blackman political machine.
Yep.
But that's going on. And we have alderman races, and I'm not really sure who all's running. But y'all get out and vote. And I'm sure there's people voting in Clinton. And it amazes me today we had nothing on Clinton. I guess we just don't know, and we're not.
I should be more invested in Clinton.
We gotta find somebody to
Clinton's
talk
half
to us.
my DNA, so I mean, I should.
We got to find somebody. Let's take a break. We'll be back. It's the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor Turcotte here on WYAB. Go vote. The bum bum bum. Firewoman.
Firewoman. Takes me back to 1989 in Phase 5 in Slidell, Louisiana.
Look, I
Back
remember
when it was on the lakefront and
I
not
remember meeting
in town.
Ian at the Coliseum, and his hair was
Beautiful hair.
no. I thought it just looked like black plastic.
I know, but on TV it was beautiful hair.
Well, in person
Was it bad?
It was flat and weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was open. That was when the Cult was opening
Mhm.
for Metallica on tour.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Uh,
See, James Hetfield. James Hetfield takes me to another level. So we won't talk about that.
Hetfield and I have been friends for a while. We went into Okay, here's what happened. We went to Monsters of Rock concert
There are two rock people.
in Monsters of Rock.
Eddie Vedder.
Monsters of Rock.
And Hatfield.
In Memphis.
Uh-huh.
They were the opening act. They were nobody.
Mm-hmm.
The press box caught on fire. James Hetfield and I and Cliff Burton went in there and
put it out.
Rescued. No,
we
rescued the keg.
Oh,
and sat in the top of the Liberty Bowl Stadium drinking it while we watched Sammy Hagar because he had just joined. Well,
there's
Van
another
Halen.
one. I like Hagar too. They have aged very well.
Van Halen.
Is he?
See, I forget all.
Single or is he married?
I have no idea. I don't keep up with him. After he cut his hair, I didn't care.
Well, he looks better with short hair.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. When he cut his hair, he sold out, in my opinion.
I think that a lot of those men had a hard time, kind of like I do now, about cutting my hair. That if you cut your hair and to dispose of it almost, you're seen as selling out. Whereas a lot of them cut their hair and kept their style. And Hetfield was one of those.
I don't think so.
Vedder.
I think the music was more commercial later.
Yeah.
The music was more commercial later, where the other stuff was angry.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah.
And they came back and did Saint Anger album, but that was not angry enough for me.
Right.
And when in the beginning, and I guess it was more of the Dave Mustaine influence back then.
Oh, so I guess you didn't like Queensryche at all. Did you?
Queensryche.
Well, they had a more beautiful music,
but they didn't change. They didn't change a lot until after the album with Jet City Woman, Empire.
Yeah. And I can't talk albums. I can talk songs,
Scott Mateer from Jackson on the album was the preacher, and on Queen on which album is that? That is Operation Mindcrime.
Yeah,
that's Scott Mateer. Do you know who that is?
No, I do not.
Scott Mateer was a radio legend here in Jackson. And he was a Southern preacher.
It seems like once a week you're reminding me of somebody famous that's from Mississippi.
I even did a demo to be the preacher for that, and I didn't have it down. But at the time, I used to do a guy on the radio called the Dr. Billy Frank from the First Economical Church of the Fruited Plain, and sometime guest speaker on the Pastor Lou Club, not to be confused with any other organization bearing those same initials.
Yeah, is everybody beginning to realize that Chip's got the skills to pull off the things?
And then I would go radio station organ, and then I would play this organ and go, friends, I want you to dig down deep today and find in your heart to send me some money. But anyway,
I need money.
Yeah,
I need signs.
We need more sponsors for our show, and we always need more sponsors.
Yeah,
but if you're a conservative business and you're in the area, and we
you're
only
in downtown Jackson, that's my.
And if you want to make us mad and be a Democratic business and advertise here, we'll do it, but we don't want to do it.
Conservative Democrats, I'm all about.
Conservative Democrats. But I'm talking about the crazies.
We need to recruit them all.
But the lefty. If you got money, you can throw it at us, and we'll take it. But we don't have to. We don't have to like it.
Well,
okay.
I might not take it.
If y'all want to advertise with us,
yes,
give us a call here at the station, or find us on Facebook or wherever, and we'll put you on the air. Oh God.
Are they still? Is it still blowing up?
It's still blowing up.
It's going to be all day, Chip.
It's going to be all day.
It's going to be all day. It's on
because
Facebook.
It's still on Facebook, and people watch it, and then they go, "Holy cow, they're under siege."
Did y'all know that? Y'all can watch all of the old shows on Facebook.
Yeah.
Anything that anybody does, all you got to do is go back and catch up.
So that's that. And
so I need to go back and watch the mayoral ones.
So today
is
Tariff Tuesday, along with being election day.
Tomorrow.
No, tariffs today at 3:00.
Trump said that he is telling everybody what he is doing. I heard this out of his mouth, sitting behind.
Yeah.
He is going to announce something tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
That he could not announce today, because if he announced it today, everybody would assume it was a April Fool's
But he's going to
joke,
start. He's
just
got
like
a press
yours.
conference today at 3:00 to talk about some things.
Does he? Okay.
Yes.
Well, maybe he's going to let it out the bag early then.
And well, I mean, that's what's going on.
He had one yesterday too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a great president.
He had Kid Rock on Did you see his Kid Rock one yesterday?
We're going to talk about Kid
Rock. They're not going to let Trump is not putting on that jacket. I don't care what anybody says.
But then again, I remember Kid Rock when he was sleeping on the floor at Muddy Waters out at the reservoir.
Here we go. I should have known.
I mean, we could go rock story after rock story.
I should have known.
Well, he slept on the floor. He played there. He opened for the North Mississippi All-Stars there at Muddy Waters.
Okay. Mississippi All-Stars. I remember those days. I remember that.
He slept on the floor for a week or two, then took off, got a call to go to New York, and was on Saturday Night Live, and boom. And I still have his iron and a box of transfers, because he was broke back then, and he would go to Goodwill and get T-shirts. I have these transfers that say "White Punks on Dope Tour."
Gosh.
And that was what Kid Rock was, and he was mostly a turntable guy. We have his turntables.
Okay.
Too. So.
Well, we need to do some when these elections are over. In order to relax, you and I will do some history, fun stuff, and you tell all the old stories.
I'm not good at talking about history. Let's go to let's go to the phones. YB, good morning. Hello. Are you there? Where are you?
Hello.
Yes. What's up?
Hey, all right. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's up?
I'm doing all right, man. I don't know how these usually go.
Yep.
I'm not live or nothing, am I?
Yes, you are live.
Oh, I'm live?
Yes,
You're
sir.
live.
Okay. I'm just waiting. I have a situation that has occurred with one of our famous news anchor sons down here.
Yeah.
I have basically sued a performance shop in this city, in Jackson, Mississippi.
Right.
And there's a guy that goes by the name of Brandon Ballou.
Right.
That was working on my 1970 Chevy Chevelle.
Okay, well, hold on now. Hold on a second. I'm not a lawyer. This is not a show that does that sort of stuff. So I really have to cut you off, because we're not going to get into that, because I don't know anything about it. And this is not a call and complain line. Now politics, we'll talk about that, but we can't talk about a complaint on a business
dispute. Yeah.
That's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry. Okay. Wow. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do it on the air. Hit me on the Facebook
he thought
page
I was.
and give
what's
me...
the guy on the weekend that does the show? Not the law call. It was what's his name? Handle on the Law.
Oh, do we have one? Well, there you go,
listener.
Have a show where you can call on Saturday. Call in and ask them.
So you call me and oh no.
Yeah. Otherwise, I guess put a comment on one of my Facebook pages and.
Okay, so
I'll look into it.
Okay.
Off the air.
Handle on the Law. I'm now being confused with everybody.
Yep. Chip can solve any problem given.
I'm not getting into legal
no, I'm not. No.
If it's a legal problem with elections, you need to call me.
Yeah.
Because I
think that I'm beginning to find that lawyers and politicians are a lot alike. There's only about 20% of them that are not trying to snatch your money.
Taylor, myself, and Tim Jenkins are probably the foremost in election procedure. But get out and vote. We'll be back.
Yep.
We got to take a break right here on WYAB with Chip on the Law. Yes, I am Chip Matthews here on the Chip Matthews Show with Taylor Turcotte. And then we were tiptoeing through the tulips.
Extraordinaire.
Willow tree. Willow trees and pussy willows different.
I can't stand him. That high. So no, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the difference in the two trees.
And
his
voice. I'm wondering if a willow tree and a pussy willow are the same thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. I'll Google it.
I don't know.
We have a.
I know a willow tree. I think that it may be a willow tree, and then the flower is actually called although I don't like using that word.
Pussy willow.
Yes.
Okay, but anyway,
any use of that, cat or otherwise,
that
bothers me.
That's what it's called.
I know, but still, okay. Anyway.
But anyway,
probably the tree and the flowers is the distinction there, maybe.
Okay.
I remember a big willow tree on Kitchens Drive in Clinton.
Oh, I remember what a willow tree is now. I'm good. I'm good. I've got that now. Okay. Brains not.
Now what?
I served short-term memory loss due to running for office in Canton and undergoing gunfire. I take PTSD medicines because of it.
Yes.
The stories I could tell.
It's called
That's why we're on the radio. 9:42 in the morning on election day. Have you voted?
If you haven't, get there.
Do you plan on voting? It's going to take a large turnout in Jackson proper in order to change the mayor. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at Chokeway, Antar LaBomba.
Again. Because he is running this election. The mayor's office runs the election.
And he will be there and he'll be in office and he'll be wearing his prison uniform.
Yep. On the other hand, I hate to say it, but Sandra McCall is running the election. So either way, everybody has got to show up because they cannot cheat if it's not close.
It's got to be huge. You got to get people in.
They cannot cheat if it's
not close. This is where you're dividing the Democrats, and this is where you're deciding the Republicans that run. You've got to understand that if there's a runoff, there will be 4 elections just to get one mayor in Jackson.
Yep.
So if you vote in the Republican primary for mayor, you cannot come back in the runoff and vote in the Democratic
primary.
side.
Yes, that would not be fair.
But you almost may have a runoff in the Republican side and have to vote in that. But you need to decide where, and I mean, just logically figure it out. Logically figure it out. The normal person that wins in Jackson between Democrats and Republicans is the Democrat.
Yes.
So it's probably best to choose the best of the worst yourself.
Yes. If you live in Jackson, Mississippi, if you're voting, vote Democrat. There's nobody on the Republican ticket that I had even heard about before they were. I didn't even know who any of them were until after the election. So vote Democrat.
And then
just like we did last year.
And then in the general election, you'll have
one
Republican, you'll have one Democrat.
Yep.
You'll have, I think it's 2 or 3 independents.
I think there's 4.
4 independents.
I think that Kim last night said it's 4.
So y'all will all vote those 6 people. In the top 2 of that, if they don't get 50 plus 1,
right,
there'll be another election.
Yep.
So at some point, we're going to, no matter what, like we need the first election to be 40, 50,000 people show up. Actually, you need 100,000 to show up, but that's not going to happen.
Well, but if anything's better than 16.
Yeah, 16,000 people is not going to be enough.
Nope.
Okay, to
that's what it was last
change Jackson in the primary.
Yep.
And then they're going to have to turn around and vote again in 2 weeks.
Yep. So just get comfortable, get to know your polls.
And then 4
lines are usually
not
that long.
Then what is it? 4 weeks later after that? It's June the
3rd. I think that in 2 weeks we have the primary runoffs. And so then in 6 weeks after that would be the election.
Okay. You'd have the election and then you would have another runoff.
Yep.
So by the time this is over, you're going to be tired of voting.
And
but
sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
If you get the right candidate, you're going to be very, very, very happy.
For the next
so
get
off your butt and go vote, because you're costing Chokeway a whole lot of money to buy Democrats 4 times. but that's what they do. George
No.
George Soros be sending some money in. He's happy
No.
because you got to think he's in this because I mean he was sending money to the DA and they they all work together to
George
go.
Soros, I'm sure, has got money in Benny's campaign. Who do you think's backing it all?
Well,
Soros is at the very top of the Democratic.
I never heard Benny
pay.
get on a boat.
Well, no, Benny never got on a boat, but Soros has got money behind every Democrat and every.
I mean, but anyway.
Yep.
So get out and vote today, people. It's so important to vote. It's so important to vote.
And this is a year where we really can, I can understand some people maybe not getting involved in voting because of the fact that you maybe don't know enough about the contestants to make an educated guess. But this year, there's no excuse.
Well, the reality is this: every time you vote, it's like we're looking at those clowns that are down at the Coliseum, and you're sitting there. Not Coliseum, I guess a little bit further down the street from the Coliseum at the Capitol. I meant to say the Capitol, not the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing is voting, and they think that they have your support because they're the ones in office. And not all of them were challenged in their election. Some of them have been in office too long.
Yeah.
Some of them have lied and say they're Republicans when they're actually
Democrats. I'm thinking as a voter that I may want my House and Senate state people to start. You need to show me a little bit more reasoning for the need for a law, not just shoving a law in my face, but maybe we need to start really thinking about, what are the circumstances that are causing us to need this law before we go any further? Because all they're doing is coming in and writing laws. I'm
pinching your head off. Let me pinch your head off because here's what they're doing. Other than your vote, that's the only voice you have now. And if they're cheating in the voice, and then other people aren't running against them, you're stuck with the same decision over and over again.
Yep.
They killed the bill that had a recall in it.
Exactly.
Then they don't give you your ballot initiative.
Exactly.
Where you can.
Yep.
You could. I mean, the people should be voting on whether or not we should have a recall. That's not something that they need to do.
It is common sense for anyone to have a recall. Don't start that with me. It is common sense that any person should be able to recall a politician that has gone bad.
But what I'm saying is they're not going to vote for that for us. But the people could vote for that and put it into place.
Right.
But they're never going to cut their own throats.
Well,
that's what your situation is.
Well,
Yep. And that's that. Let's take another break. Last break. We'll be back. Have some time to talk right here on WYAB. tulips?
Tulips.
Are they like buttercups?
I don't know. Buttercups are, I think, smaller, flat flowers, whereas tulips are like up high, almost like a vase.
So
They're
which one?
deep.
Which one makes salted butter?
I have no idea.
Which buttercup do you use?
I have no. I don't think that you use any of them. I think
Okay,
it's just a
just-
color.
Where,
It's
well, where
probably
does
a color.
where does butter come from then?
Probably because it's the same color as butter, so it's
Where does butter
buttercup,
come from?
milk, and a cow,
Okay, just making sure.
right?
Just
Doesn't it?
making- Yeah, I was just making sure. You know,
In fact, I need butter. I gotta go to the grocery store.
testing your blindness this morning. Okay, so where we were before we went to break, went to break,
Mhm.
and y'all get out and see all our sponsors and take
Mhm.
care of them and say hello to them and
Yep.
do what you need to do.
Yep.
But and by the way, the Jameson Haygood show is next at 10:00.
Yep.
If Jameson has been found
Yep.
since the
I mean, he's in the woods with the Bible.
he's in the woods with the
I don't look. If I ran off into the woods with a Bible and a gun and could, I may not come out either. I might just go underground.
He's in Battlefield Park
Wow.
with a gun and a Bible.
Wow.
Y'all, that was part of my big April Fool's joke at 6 a.m. this morning, and I'm still getting texts on
Chip's
it.
quite
It has not stopped.
Chip's quite the entertainer.
But what were we talking about? We were fixing to talk about on elections. You're going to talk about them creating right now. The Senate is trying to create a new system for us to vote with the 15 days, the early voting, and all of that. When we can't even get this one right.
Yep, 15 days of an open ballot box in somewhere. I mean, in the clerk's office. So at any point in the night, anybody could unlock the door and walk in.
And just think about it.
And just change and just take one thumb drive out, stick another one in.
And it would
That's all
be,
it takes.
it's the only place. And I mean, like, for instance, right now, I look at what the Republicans are doing in Rankin County.
Mm-hmm.
Rankin County with the single polling place.
Right.
Imagine how easy that is for you as a candidate. Because you can get there, you can watch the poll all day. You can be there from the time it opens to the time it closes. And all the corruption from where they hire 70 billion Democrats to work every poll in Jackson or in Canton. That goes away.
I know.
Because you can sit there and watch it.
Right. And I mean, not to say that there's not a need to do something, that the problem that they're trying to solve with the 15-day for the everyday average voter is true, but 15 days is not the solution.
Well, see, here in this situation, let's look at this.
Mm-hmm.
They had 45 days to vote absentee. So you did have early voting.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
You did have early voting. Now, everybody says that the early voting is slowed down that we have currently with the absentee voting by taking it out of the envelope and scanning it. No, that does not slow it down at all.
No.
There is no.
It's an envelope.
It's an envelope. You take
when
it out.
When the election's complete, they open the envelope, they flatten it out, they separate it.
And you separate them. They're in a pile. You don't know who's came out of what envelope after it's approved by the resolution board.
Right.
And they're over there.
Right.
And in the event that they are needed after reading the machines, they are scanned. Some places scan them regardless. Some people,
if needed, they should always be scanned and counted.
That's
if
what
needed
I say.
Means that, okay, if we need these ballots that we know have got so-and-so's name on it to get over the finish line at the end of the night.
Right.
No, an absentee. And see, once again, that's why I want to put my own ballot in the scanner so that I have a ballot image of my ballot with timestamp.
Right.
That I can walk back into my poll and say, I voted at this time. I want to see my ballot image.
And nobody should be next to your machine when you're voting.
Mm-mm.
You should. Your voting is your privilege and it's private. Okay. What you do is what you do. And so don't let somebody steal your vote. Don't let them steal your voice. It's your only voice you really have. Your voice that you use when you didn't vote doesn't mean anything. It falls on deaf ears.
And at the end of the day, when the powers that be need the votes to make up their loss, need to make up for the win.
I don't want to hear you complaining. I don't want you.
They're going to use your vote if you don't vote it.
If you didn't vote, I don't want to hear it. You want to say the city's falling apart. You didn't vote.
Yep.
You got to go vote, people.
Yep.
Wherever you live. And every time. And right now, if you don't like the candidates on the ballot, the next election coming up that people can get on the ballot to run will be the supervisor's race. And who's going to run against Benny Thompson to get rid of Benny Thompson? Benny Thompson can be gone every 2 years. Every 2 years. But you got to put somebody on the ballot to run against him.
Yep, we need a quality candidate.
And that's all you got to do. Get on the ballot. So if you want to fix a problem.
You don't even have to live in District 2. You can live. I mean, it's a hard sell, but I was ready to sell it.
I can't
live on the outskirts. It shifts all the time.
I can't find my glasses. I got to get them on because we're coming up on the end of the show.
We are.
Jameson Haygood will be on later today.
He will.
Kim Wade will be here at 4 p.m.
Yep.
The siege of the radio station staff this morning was my April Fool's joke. And some of them will be tested on that all day today.
Yep.
It does look like.
Chip has created
But it was April Fool's Day. You got to do something. And Democrats are out there. Well, I think it'll be funny tonight if Howard Ballou comes on and Maggie Wade come on and go, Chokeway won. And then go, April Fools, he did not. But that's not going to happen. They're not going to do it that way. But that's that.
Yep.
The one, the only, the Jameson Haygood.
Yep.
Is next right here on WYAB.
Thank you for wanting to keep us all having fun and entertained, Chip.
And then tomorrow morning, I'll be back at 6 a.m. Are you going to wake up tomorrow morning and come in, or do you know yet?
Yeah, I can.
According to how you feel.
Yep. I got a lot going on.
Okay. 6 a.m. And then, of course, beginning tomorrow, you and I have to get out and start campaigning and putting our signs out where people know that we're running.
Exactly. I will be at Grip and Grin tomorrow, and we'll basically be making
Grip and Grins tomorrow.
You want to hear what I want to do?
Be there.
Yep.
And say hello to everybody.
Mama Hamels.
Okay. We're gone. We'll see you later.
Y'all
I'm Chip
have a
Matthews.
good week.
She's Taylor Turcotte. Goodbye.